Hello and welcome in. What can I help you with today? Oh, yes, of course. I can definitely help you with getting a new custom shirt. I have to say, I think that a lot of gentlemen today really overestimate the need for a custom suit or just a nice suit, and really undervalue getting a nice well-fitted shirt. I think that the difference can be quite staggering for a lot of gentlemen, and well, let's be honest, how many people wear a suit every day today? But I find that most young gentlemen are actually going to wear their shirts a lot more often. You can wear them casually, you can wear them with a suit, and so I think it's a great choice that you're making. So we'll kind of walk you through our process and some of the details that we like to put into our shirts, and then from there we can do a fitting for you, and then maybe we'll look at a few fabrics if you want to. So we'll kind of see how we go from there. Sound good? Okay, excellent. So a few areas that we kind of like to keep in mind. We want to keep in mind kind of the fit of the shirt that you're going for. It can be a very slim fit, which is very in style, kind of a modern look, or we can go for a little bit more relaxed, more traditional kind of cut on the shirt. One thing that a lot of gentlemen think is that you have to be thin to wear a slim fitting shirt, and that's really not true, because the shirt's going to be measured for you, but it's going to just basically how I would think about it is like here, is it tight to your body or is it going to be loose to your body? Relatively, my shirt isn't going to go on you just because you pick slim or traditional. We do not offer just off the rack shirts where I would just say, here you go, which as a result is going to mean that the shirts are going to take somewhere in around 4 to 6 weeks from today until they'll actually arrive. But when they do arrive, they'll be perfectly fitted to you. I typically recommend a more slim fit. I think that it's a little bit more flattering on pretty much everyone's body. I think when you go for that more traditional cut, you often end up kind of get a little bit more billow of fabric in a lot of places, in a way that I personally think is not the most flattering, but it can be fine. And if that's something that you'd prefer to do, then we can certainly work with that. The advantage of a traditional cut on a shirt is going to be that it's going to give you a little bit more room. It's going to be a little bit more comfortable as a result. So some gentlemen, I typically find older gentlemen who've been wearing dress shirts for a long time typically kind of prefer that fit. Another place that it can be nice is we make dress shirts, obviously, but you could also get a more casual button-down thing. Sometimes you like to wear a button-down not tucked in, right? Or maybe a linen shirt. You want it a little bit looser. So in those cases, a traditional fit can actually be a really nice thing, where the slim fit can sometimes be a little bit more close to the body and can look a little bit off. Which kind of shirt are you looking for today? Okay, and so which style would you prefer to go with? Yes, okay, perfect. Yes, totally understandable. I actually basically don't buy shirts anymore that are not custom made to me. I'm very tall and very thin, and I find basically shirts do one of two things on me. They either, the sleeves are going to be way too long and the body's going to be way too big. The sleeves are going to be way too short and the body will be right, or the body will be huge. It looks like I'm almost wearing a dress, but the sleeves will be the right length. And I have very thin arms, so I get a lot of extra material typically in a shirt. And so I don't really like that. So I've actually switched over even my casual shirts. I find most gentlemen, their first outing, kind of like you, are going to go for that more of a dress shirt, kind of like I'm wearing today. Which I think makes sense. If you're going to invest in a piece, you want it to be a nice piece, and you're probably going to wear it when you get dressed up. So I think that's an excellent choice. So the next thing that I would recommend you kind of think about is going to be the style of collar that you want to wear with this shirt. A lot of gentlemen will wear a button-down collar, and I think button-down collars are great. I have them in a lot of my casual shirts. I think I've got a couple around here somewhere right now, actually. But I would encourage typically that you go away from a button-down collar on your first custom shirt, especially if it's going to be a dress shirt, because a button-down collar can be kind of limiting. A lot of gentlemen will wear it with a suit or a sport coat or blazer, but you really shouldn't do that. If you're going to wear it with a jacket, you should have a traditional collar. The button-down's a much more relaxed look. It kind of takes away from the effect of the suit or jacket that you're wearing it with. And it can be done, but I really encourage gentlemen to kind of steer clear of that look. I think it's there are rules that are meant to be broken and played with, and I think that there are so many more interesting places that you can play in your wardrobe, and I think you're better served to kind of leave that one alone. So my suggestion for you would be to go for kind of a medium collar all the way around. When I say that, what I mean is kind of a medium spread, nothing very dramatic, not very narrow. And what that refers to is when you button your collar. Give me one moment. So when you button your collar, you see how the points kind of spread apart. So this shape that's formed here, there's a variety of different collars that can be formed. So one of the options is it actually buttons down here. Basically all other collars, what they'll have is in here there's a little piece of metal, and it helps to keep the shape. But these points that this comes to, it could be much narrower, or it could kind of spread wider. What I'm wearing today is kind of a medium spread, and that's what I typically recommend for most gentlemen, unless you're looking for a very stylized look and going to kind of one extreme or the other. I think right down the middle typically serves best. Is that what you'd like to go with, or would you like to kind of go for one of the more stylized looks? Okay, yeah, I think that's a good choice. I think that as you build your repertoire and your wardrobe of shirts, I think that it can be a lot of fun to kind of play and experiment with different collars, different fabrics, different buttons, all kinds of things like that. But I think when you're starting, it's really great to kind of build the basics, and you probably have in your closet some of the basics already. I think it can be nice to kind of take something that's similar to a basic and tweak it just a little bit. But I think if you go too extreme off the start, you don't want to wear a really stylized piece all the time. You kind of save it for special occasions. So I think those are kind of better for later. So I think you've made a good choice. Let me note that down. Medium. Okay. Excellent. Now we're going to kind of start moving in towards some of the measuring. And there's a few things that I want to kind of highlight to you before we get into that, because I think otherwise it can be a little bit surprising when you get your shirt that you might not think about. So a prime example is going to be on your cuffs on your shirt, right? Most gentlemen are typically used to having, you'll have the button here, also have buttons here. Typically you would see maybe 2 or 3 buttons kind of side by side, and the purpose of that is not a stylistic purpose. The purpose of that is actually so that because they're trying to make a shirt for the average man, or at least the average man who shops there, they're going to typically provide multiple buttonholes so that if you have large wrists, you can kind of go for the one that gives them the biggest circle around the wrist, right? Or if you have small wrists, very small wrists, you can use the smaller one, and it gets a little bit closer to what would be your true size. Excuse me. Because if you wear just kind of a generic cuff, and maybe it's way too big for you, it could make the shirt look really bad. But since this shirt's going to be made just for you, you're actually going to find that you only have one button here. There's not going to be, if I unbutton my shirt, right, there's only the one button there. There isn't a second one. So that's one thing that you kind of need to keep in mind when you get this. The other thing, and I'm not going to show you because I'd have to untuck my shirt, but you're going to find that on a tucked in shirt, you're going to actually get kind of a hourglass, almost a feminine kind of look to the shirt when you first put it on. That is ideal because what that's going to do is it's going to give you a nice, smooth, clean line when you tuck your shirt into your pants, and the part that kind of goes like this, your body kind of naturally comes together, creates a V, and then your pants hit, and then they go back out a little bit at the hips, and so your shirt's going to follow that contour of your natural body. But when you put it on over your pants, it's going to look weird, and you're going to maybe be uncomfortable with it. But once you tuck it in, right where your pants hit is where it's going to flare back out, so you're only going to see that nice, very flattering V. It's very masculine. So just kind of be warned with that, because I know when I first tried one on, I was kind of surprised because all of the shirts I had bought in stores previously that were not custom sized for me didn't have that effect. They kind of just come more straight down. So I like to kind of warn my customers, if you will, that that might be something that happens for them. Okay. All right. So do you have any questions before we get started? Okay, excellent. So I'm going to take a few measurements of you, and I'll kind of talk you through the process as I do that. Okay? Great. Let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the measurement around your neck. Okay? When we make the shirt for you, we're going to measure it so that you can wear it buttoned with a tie. If you button it, you should always wear a tie. It just kind of looks odd if you button it all the way up and don't have a tie on. And when we do this, we want it to be snug. If it's really loose, right? If I had a lot more space in here like this, that's kind of how it sat naturally without me pulling on it, then when I put on a tie, what's going to happen is going to be the tie is going to kind of hang forward, and instead of having a nice kind of nice drape to it, what I'm going to get instead is going to be this weird kind of like buckled forward look at the top of my tie, and then it's going to like curve back, and it's going to make almost like a C before it goes down. It's not going to look nice. So we want to avoid that if we can, but we don't want it to choke you. So we're going to kind of try and find that nice in-between, which can sometimes be difficult because when you're looking at shirts off the rack, they're typically in half-inch increments. And I don't know about you, but my neck doesn't come in a perfect half-inch increment. So, hopefully we can avoid that for you. So let's go ahead and take this measurement. Okay, perfect. Okay, excellent. And one thing that I've observed with a lot of tailors that I always thought was kind of odd Carpenters don't have this, but it seems a lot of tailors do. If you ask a carpenter, they'll always tell you measure twice, cut once. When I see a lot of tailors work, I see them measure once, cut twice. So they'll measure, make a shirt or a suit or whatever it is, and then if they need to, they'll alter it. I'm a big proponent of measure again, now make the shirt. And then if we need to, for any reason, make some more alterations, we can always do that. But I think it's, it helps us to get a little bit closer if we measure twice. So we're going to go through all of these measurements and take them twice on you, okay? So the next thing that we're going to measure is going to be your arm length. So the arm length, for this, I want you to kind of just stand relaxed how you would. Don't try and stand shoulders back, super upright. I want you to stand nice and relaxed. Just kind of let your arms hang at the side. I like to tell gentlemen to kind of shake loose a little bit before we take this measurement, because we really want your natural posture. Shake it out for a second and get nice and comfortable. Good? Okay, let's take this measurement. Okay, perfect. And now we're going to actually take the same measurement but on the other side. And we do this because for some people, one arm might be longer or thicker than the other. For me, my left arm is a little bit longer than my right arm, but my right arm is a little bit, like I have a bigger bicep on my right arm. And we find this for a lot of gentlemen. It holds true. So another one of the advantages of a custom shirt is going to be that we can make one sleeve longer and one sleeve a little bit wider, whereas when you get a shirt off the rack, or just go to the store and buy a shirt, we call that off the rack, you're just going to get two sleeves that are the same size, whether your arms are 2 inches apart or perfectly matched. So let's do the other side again. Go ahead, shake it out. You want to stay very relaxed throughout this whole process, because I think most gentlemen spend most of their lives kind of in a relaxed position. So let's make your shirt fit that, okay? Perfect. All right, here we go. Okay, great. I see that you also have a little bit of a discrepancy between your arms. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever measured somebody who is exactly the same in all of their measurements, so on both sides. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do your bicep. We're going to measure around kind of the thickest part of your bicep, and when we do this, again, stay relaxed. Don't try and flex or anything. If you do that, then your shirt's probably going to be a little bit too big around on the sleeves. And I think that something that can be very unsightly on a shirt is going to be, when you have excess fabric in places, it just kind of takes away from the look. It's going to make the shirt wrinkle a lot more easily. So we want to avoid that. Okay, so let's start with this arm over here. Okay, perfect. Good. Now the other side. Okay, great. Okay. Now the last measurement that we need to do on your arms is going to be your wrist. We're going to fit you for your cuffs. Now, which-handed are you? When I say I mean which hand do you write with, or throw a baseball, things like that. Okay, perfect. So you'll wear a watch. Do you wear a watch ever? Because I ask because if you wear a watch, like I sometimes wear a watch. So what we can do is we can make the cuff just a little bit higher than we otherwise would on that side, and what that does is it's going to make it so that if you wear a watch, I'm not wearing one today, but if you do, it can kind of slide over the watch a little bit easier, a little bit more freely, which just allows your garment to move more naturally and fit more comfortably. So would you like us to do that? Or what we can do, which is what I do on my shirts, is we kind of split the difference. So we give a little bit of an allowance for the watch, but it'll work with a thin watch, and it will still kind of split the difference. So if you're not wearing a watch, it still looks nice. It doesn't look like it's any extra fabric. Not that a watch allowance really does that. So which would you like? And which sleeve was that on again? Perfect, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to measure your wrists. Okay, that's 1 and 2. Perfect, thank you. Okay, just a couple more measurements to go. So next what we're going to do is we're going to just measure around your chest and about breast height. So stand relaxed. I'm just going to ask you to kind of lift your arms up so I can get the tape measure underneath, and then lower your arms back down so we can get the relaxed measurement, okay? So can I get you to just kind of hold your arms out for a second? Perfect, thank you. I'm just going to come in kind of close here. Okay, and can you lower your arms for me? Perfect, thank you. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing, but kind of down at your belly area. Okay, so same thing. Can you lift your arms out for me? Thank you, that's perfect. And lower them down for me, please. Perfect, thank you. Okay, now just shake it out for me. The last thing that I need to do, last measurement I need to take, is going to be to kind of check the slope of your shoulder. We're kind of looking for the angle on either side so that we can understand kind of how the fabric is going to lay on you, okay? So just stand nice and relaxed. Perfect. Okay, got it. Okay, so that's all the measurements that we need, but I'm going to quickly run through them again. This time I'm not going to be kind of talking through them. I'm just going to quickly move through the different measurements that we need, okay? All right, perfect. So starting with your neck. Okay, got it. All right, we got that one right. Let's do your arm length. Okay, good there. Let's do the other side. That one's not the same as I had before, I don't think. No, let's do that one more time. Okay, there we go. Good. All right, now we'll do your biceps. Just relax, stay loose. Perfect. Good. Good. All right, I don't miss very often. Let's do your wrist. Good. Yes. And this one. Perfect. And can you just confirm which wrist you wear your watch on for me, please? Okay, excellent. That's what I have. Good. Okay, if you can just kind of lift your arms up for me one more time. And relax your arms. Perfect. And I'll just lower down. Perfect. If you could lift your arms. Great, thank you. Alright. And let's get the slope one more time. Excellent. The other side. Okay. Alright. Very even shoulders, very even slope. So that's all of the fittings that we need for today. So the next step would be for you to kind of go through some of the fabrics if you'd like, or I can make a recommendation for you. Like a recommendation. Okay, just give me a moment and I'll pull out a couple of different options that I think would be a good fit for you. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went into the back and I found 4 options for you. And I was going to bring out the fabric swatches, but then I was able to actually find all 4 in full shirts that we were making for some of our customers. So I thought, it's okay to see it in a fabric swatch, but if you can see the real deal in a full shirt, I think it gives you a much better picture of what the shirt's actually going to look like, a much better idea of what it's going to look like for you. So I'll kind of set these aside and kind of walk you through them one at a time. One thing I do want to highlight though is that I didn't bring out any solid colors and I didn't bring out white. And there's a reason for this. And it kind of has to do with what we've talked about up till now and how a custom shirt is an opportunity for you to express your own fashion and style. And I think that solid colors, shirts they look very generic and they don't really achieve that. I also think that they can be a little bit limiting. They tend to be a little bit more formal, and you're not going to be able to wear them quite in as many situations and look really stylish. You can look nice in them, but I think things with just a little bit of a pattern to them or a little bit of something typically look better. So I'm going to give you an example with the first one. So this first one, it's a blue, but it's just got a little bit of a check to it. And the one that we made for this customer has these dark blue buttons, just like the shirt I'm wearing right now. I think that there's a variety of button options that you can kind of go with, but I think mixing up your buttons is another way to kind of make your shirt stand out a little bit. So I think this is really nice because it's close enough that you could wear it like you would wear a classic solid blue shirt, but if you wanted to wear it with, say, a pair of khakis or maybe even a pair of jeans, you could, and I think it'll work a little bit better than just a solid shirt would. So that's the first option that I have. This is the second one. If you look closely, it's a red, white, and blue kind of check, and I think it's really nice. This one is a little bit more stylized. I think it's a little bit harder to match, but I think it can look great with a lot of different options. A navy pant looks great. A burgundy pant looks great. Like a tan khaki looks great with it. A gray pant would look nice. So you really do still have a lot of options. You just have to be a little bit careful that you don't end up looking like an American flag. Unless that's what you're going for, it can be a great 4th of July kind of finisher to an outfit. And I've we paired this one again with the dark blue buttons. Those are really a favorite of mine. I think they can really make a shirt pop. So that's kind of the second option. I think this is really nice because it really it hits business casual really nicely. You could wear it with a suit coat and and kind of a plain tie. Basically, the general rule is you either want to have a textured shirt or a textured tie. You don't want to have both have a pattern going on. Then it just becomes really busy and it doesn't look very good. But you could wear this with a solid tie, and I think it could look really nice. Or obviously, you could wear it on its own. So this next one is a little bit of kind of a micro check. It's a blue and red check on a white background. And this one has a light blue button. I think this one's really, really nice because this shirt kind of steps where that last one was a little bit bigger of a check. This one, that finer check, makes it just a little bit more formal. You can definitely still wear this with a pair of khakis or a pair of jeans. But where that last one was kind of in the middle of business casual, I think this one's kind of at the higher end. So if you're looking for something that could be really a formal shirt or a very informal shirt, I think this one really does that transition nicely. And the last one that I have for you is actually the shirt that I have on today. I think that this is probably my personal favorite. It's a kind of off-white, off-blue. What it really is, if you look really closely, is it's a white shirt with little tiny dots of blue all throughout. It's got a nice little texture to it, and then the dark blue button. And I think it just gives it a really interesting look because it kind of, from a distance, looks like a light blue dress shirt. But when you get up close and you're kind of having a conversation with somebody, they'll notice that you have that little bit of texture, and it's not just a plain blue shirt. And I think it gives it a really interesting look. So this is one of my favorites. But those are the 4 options that I've kind of picked out for you today. You can obviously get more than one if you'd like, but I want to give you kind of a few minutes to think about what you would like, both from the fabrics and kind of a button. For these shirts, what I would typically recommend is going to be either the dark blue button on this shirt, the light blue button on the second to last shirt, or kind of a classic kind of clear button. I think any of the other colors would probably look a little bit odd with these options. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to go kind of check on things in the back, and then I'll be back, and we can get you settled up and get your shirt ordered. Okay? Well, it's been a pleasure working with you today, and I'm going to actually hand you off to my associate to finish your order.